5 points clear, top of the Premier League, and we did it the hard way. Welcome to Andy Gunners Live. I am Andrew, and if you have not already subscribed to this channel, do it right now. Hit that button, turn on notifications, and stay with me until the very end of this video, because I am going through every single Arsenal player from yesterday's win over Chelsea, rating them honestly, rating them fairly, and telling you exactly what I saw. Like the video if you are an Arsenal supporter who refuses to pretend we were perfect yesterday, because we were not, but we got the 3 points. And right now, in this title race, 3 points is everything. Let us get into it. Before I give you the ratings, I want to set the scene properly, because the context around this match matters enormously when you are judging individual performances. Chelsea came to the Emirates yesterday in a very different shape than you might expect. Liam Rosenior's side had been unbeaten in the Premier League since he took over from Enzo Maresca. And they arrived without Levi Colwill, without Jamie Gittins, with Wesley Fofana serving a suspension carried over from that red card against Burnley, and with real doubts around both Esteval and Marc Cucurella heading into the week. They were not at full strength, but they were organised, they were dangerous on the counter, and they had Cole Palmer on the pitch, which means they are never truly out of any game. Arsenal, meanwhile, were without Mikel Merino, and I want to be very clear about how significant that absence is, because I think some people are glossing over it. Merino had surgery on a stress fracture in his foot. His season could be over. This is a player who transformed how Arsenal controlled the middle third of the pitch after his arrival last summer. His ability to screen, to carry, to connect play under pressure, we miss him every single time he is not there, and yesterday was no different. The other name I want to mention before we start the ratings is Mikel Arteta. Because what Arteta has done tactically with this squad in terms of set pieces is genuinely extraordinary. 16 Premier League goals from corners this season. 16, Arsenal have equalled a Premier League record. And both goals yesterday came directly from corner routines. When you are watching this team and you wonder why the results keep coming even when the open play is not flowing, that is why. That is coaching. That is preparation. That is detail. And when you are judging individual players today, keep that in the back of your mind. Now, the ratings. Goalkeeper David Raya, 8 out of 10. David Raya was Arsenal's best player yesterday. Not by a small margin, by a considerable one. I want to be honest with you about the nature of the match, because what Raya was asked to do was not just distribute the ball neatly and organise the back line. He was genuinely tested repeatedly by a Chelsea side that had enough quality to cause real damage. When Chelsea went to 10 men after Pedro Neto's second yellow in the 70th minute, you might have thought the pressure would ease. It did not. If anything, Chelsea became more direct, more aggressive, more willing to commit bodies forward because they had nothing to lose. And Raya stood up every single time. The save to stop what looked like a deflected corner from going in was outstanding. His positioning was perfect, his reaction was sharp, and he got down low to his left with total conviction. But the moment that really caught my attention, the moment that reminded me exactly why Arsenal fought so hard to make this goalkeeper their permanent number one, was his read on that dangerous cross from Alejandro Garnacho late in the second half. Garnacho had come on and was genuinely causing problems with his directness and his pace. He whipped one in from wide right with real venom, and Raya was off his line before the ball had even left Garnacho's foot. He claimed it under pressure, completely calmed the situation, and gave the defenders the confidence to stay compact and see the game out. Raya has been quietly consistent this season in a way that sometimes gets overlooked. When the team needs him, he delivers. Yesterday, he delivered when it mattered most. 8 out of 10. Right back, Jurrien Timber. 8 out of 10. Jurrien Timber scored the winner. But I want you to understand that even if he had not scored that header, he would still have been one of Arsenal's top performers yesterday, based purely on what he contributed across the full 90 minutes. This is a player whose profile at Arsenal has been built around his versatility and his defensive intelligence. He came through as a central defender at Ajax. He has operated in midfield for Arsenal. He has played at right back under Arteta with real quality. But nobody was putting Timber on a shortlist of players who were going to trouble Chelsea aerially from a corner. And that unpredictability, that willingness to arrive into the box with confidence, with conviction, and to attack the ball like a central midfielder attacking the second phase, that is exactly what makes this Arsenal set-piece system so hard to defend. Declan Rice delivered the corner, Timber arrived at the back post, he met it cleanly, he powered it into the net, and the Emirates absolutely erupted. But I also want to credit his work in the first 65 minutes before that goal. He was constantly overlapping in support of Bukayo Saka down the right channel, giving Chelsea's left side two problems to think about every time Arsenal built possession. he did not always find the right end product going forward. There were one or two crosses that did not quite come off, but the movement was intelligent, the energy was relentless, and defensively he was solid against what Chelsea tried to do down that side. 8 out of 10. Fully deserved. Centre-back William Saliba, 7 out of 10. William Saliba scored the opening goal. He should have had a perfect afternoon, and in many respects he did, but there were moments in this performance that showed a version of Saliba that we do not always see, and in the spirit of honest analysis, we have to talk about them. The goal itself was beautifully taken. Gabriel got across his marker at the near post and flicked the headed delivery from the corner across the face of goal. Saliba was waiting at the back post, composed, and he finished it. It was an intelligent run and a confident finish, and for the first 20 minutes, Saliba was exactly the commanding, composed defender we have come to expect. But there was a moment in the second half that caught every Arsenal supporter watching, including me, with a sharp intake of breath. Saliba received the ball under pressure, deep in his own half, and his attempted pass under that pressure went straight to Cole Palmer. Now, Palmer is one of the most dangerous players in the Premier League. If he had been in a more advanced position in that moment, or if the Arsenal defensive shape had been slightly more open, that could have been catastrophic. It was not. The situation was recovered without punishment. But you cannot give Cole Palmer the ball in dangerous areas and expect to escape unscathed every single time. Saliba has the quality to be the best centre-back in England. On most days he is. Yesterday was not his cleanest performance, but he contributed at both ends, and Arsenal kept the clean sheet, largely because of the defensive structure he anchors. 7 out of 10. Centre-back Gabriel Magalhaes, 8 out of 10. Gabriel was excellent yesterday. Quite simply, excellent. His individual battle with Joao Pedro was one of the most physical and demanding duels of the entire match. Joao Pedro is not an easy centre-forward to manage. He drops into pockets, he holds the ball up with his back to goal, he drags defenders out of their positions with intelligent movement. Gabriel handled him with intelligence, physicality, and real leadership throughout. More than the defensive work, though, I want to highlight how the opening goal came about, because Gabriel's role in it was critical. He attacked that corner delivery with absolute conviction. He did not shy away from contact. He got across his marker at the near post, met the ball cleanly with a powerful downward header and redirected it precisely across the 6-yard box where Saliba was waiting. It was not a speculative flick. It was a deliberate, technically sharp piece of aerial play from a centre-back. Gabriel has been one of the players of the season for Arsenal in 2025-26. He signed a long-term contract extension last summer, and every week he shows exactly why the club moved so decisively to keep him. His leadership on the pitch, his communication, his willingness to be vocal and demand standards from those around him. This is a top-level centre-back in the prime of his career. 8 out of 10. Left-back Piero Hincapié, 5 out of 10. I have a lot of time for Piero Hincapié as a player. I was genuinely excited when Arsenal signed him last summer because I think his profile, an aggressive, athletic left-back with quality on the ball and an ability to get forward, is exactly what this team needs when everything is going well. Yesterday was not one of those days. The own goal was the most visible low point, and I do not want to be brutal about it because own goals happen in football, deflections happen, bounces happen, bodies get in the way at the wrong moment. But the nature of the clearance, the lack of conviction in the header, the failure to get proper contact, the way the ball looped over Raya and nestled into the net, that was not an unlucky deflection. That was poor technique under pressure. Chelsea delivered a corner into a dangerous area. Hincapié had a responsibility to clear it decisively, and he did not. Beyond the own goal, his overall contribution in both directions was below what Arsenal needed. He pushed forward looking to get into advanced positions, which is a part of his game and a part of what Arteta wants from his fullbacks. But too often, the final product was not there. Crosses were overhit or underhit. Decision-making in the final third felt rushed, and defensively there were moments when he looked uncomfortable against the pace of Chelsea's transitions. Hincapié is still adapting to the Premier League and to Arteta's system. He has shown enough this season to suggest he will get there. But yesterday was a difficult afternoon for him, and the scoreline could easily have been different had Chelsea been more clinical with the chances that came their way down his side. 5 out of 10. Central midfield Declan Rice, 7 out of 10. Declan Rice's fingerprints were all over this Arsenal victory, and most of the attention will correctly go to his corner delivery for the winning goal. It was an outswinging delivery to the back post with exactly the right pace and trajectory, and Timber met it perfectly. That set-piece delivery was match-winning. That is the reality. But Rice's afternoon in open play was more mixed, and I think it deserves an honest assessment. Without Merino alongside him, Rice was asked to carry more of the midfield responsibility than he ideally would. There were moments in the first half where Chelsea's midfield duo of Caicedo and Andre Santos pressed with real intensity, and Rice found himself caught between positions, not quite a deep holder, not quite a progressive carrier, trying to do everything and occasionally not doing any of it cleanly enough. He gave the ball away a couple of times in areas that were forgiving in terms of the consequences, but would have been far more damaging against a team with greater cutting edge. Where Rice was excellent consistently, reliably, importantly, was in his set-piece delivery. Both corners that led to goals were taken by Rice, both deliveries were precise, both caused maximum problems, and in a game decided entirely by set pieces, that contribution is genuinely decisive. 7 out of 10. The corners alone justify that score. Central midfield, Martin Zubimendi, 4 out of 10. This is the rating that will cause debate. And I want to be fair to Martin Zubimendi, because he is a technically gifted footballer who has had some very good moments in an Arsenal shirt since joining last summer. But yesterday was not one of them. The moment that defined his afternoon came when a misplaced pass in a dangerous central area went straight to a Chelsea player in a position where Arsenal could have been punished badly. It was not an isolated lapse. It was symptomatic of an afternoon where Zubimendi struggled to impose his natural qualities, his composure, his range of passing, his ability to control the tempo against Chelsea's pressing intensity. In the absence of Merino, Arsenal needed Zubimendi to be the heartbeat of the midfield. He needed to be the one controlling the rhythm, dictating the transitions, making the decisions that kept Arsenal playing their game rather than reacting to Chelsea's. He was not that player yesterday. He looked hesitant. He looked uncomfortable when the ball arrived in tight spaces. And when Zubimendi is hesitant, he becomes a liability rather than an asset because his whole game is built on technical confidence. I want to be clear. This is one bad performance in what has been a broadly positive debut season for Zubimendi at Arsenal. And the broader context of Merino being unavailable is genuinely relevant. These two have operated best as a partnership. Individually, without the other, the midfield feels less cohesive. But on the day, based purely on what I saw yesterday, 4 out of 10 is the honest assessment. Right wing Bukayo Saka, 6 out of 10. Bukayo Saka was below his own extraordinarily high standards yesterday, and I say that knowing full well that his standards are higher than almost anyone else in European football right now. Saka was not bad. He was not poor. He contributed to Arsenal's build-up play throughout the match. He worked hard defensively in coordination with Timber down the right side. And he had moments where he showed the directness and the technique that makes him such a dangerous player. But the cutting edge was not there. He did not add a goal. He did not add an assist. And in a match where Arsenal's open play creativity was genuinely limited, Saka was the one player on the pitch who you would have backed to produce something from nothing, and that moment never came. I am not concerned about Saka. He has been outstanding for Arsenal over the course of this season. Every player has games where it does not quite click, where the legs feel heavy, where the final pass or the final shot does not come off. Yesterday was one of those games. The fact that Timber kept making overlapping runs to give Saka a second option down that right channel showed that Arteta was trying to give him the space and the freedom to produce something, but Chelsea's defensive structure on that side was disciplined enough to keep him quieter than Arsenal would have liked. 6 out of 10, a below par display by his standards. Normal service will resume. Attacking midfield Eberechi. Eze, 4 out of 10. Eberechi Eze signed for Arsenal last summer from Crystal Palace, and his early performances in a Gunners shirt suggested he had the intelligence and the quality to thrive in Arteta's system. There have been moments this season, against Tottenham most notably, where he has shown exactly why Arsenal moved to bring him in. Yesterday was not one of those days. Eze was almost anonymous. I do not use that word lightly, because I believe in this player and I think he has genuine quality. But in a central attacking role that demands constant movement, constant availability, constant pressing when out of possession, Eze simply did not make the impact the position requires. He drifted out of games for extended periods. His link-up play with Saka on the right and with the striker was minimal. And when Arsenal needed someone in the number 10 area to break the lines, to find pockets between Chelsea's midfield and defence, to be the player who makes something happen when the game is crying out for creativity, Eze was not that player yesterday. There will be bigger and better games ahead for Eberechi Eze in an Arsenal shirt. He is too talented for this to be a consistent pattern. But on the day, 4 out of 10 is the honest score. Left wing Leandro Trossard, 3 out of 10. Leandro Trossard was Arsenal's worst performer on the day, and the substitution that brought him off in the 55th minute was the right call by Arteta. Trossard has been an important player for Arsenal over the past 2 seasons. A versatile, reliable, intelligent operator who can play across the front line and contributes goals and assists from deeper positions. He has earned real goodwill from the supporters, but yesterday he was unable to contribute meaningfully in any phase of the game. His positional play on the left side was disconnected from what the rest of the team were doing. He struggled to win duels. he was dispossessed multiple times in situations where a cleaner touch or a quicker decision would have maintained Arsenal's momentum. His pressing was disorganised rather than proactive, which put additional pressure on Rice and Zubimendi to do defensive work that should not have been theirs to do. And going forward, the moments where he was in promising positions, the execution was below the standard required. When Arteta took him off after 55 minutes and brought on Gabriel Martinelli, the change in Arsenal's energy and directness down the left side was immediately visible. That is not just a reflection on Trossard. Martinelli has the pace and the aggression to change games from wide positions, but it does tell you something about the level of the performance that preceded the substitution. 3 out of 10, not the afternoon Trossard or any of us wanted. Striker Victor Gyökeres, 6 out of 10. Victor Gyökeres went 76 minutes against Chelsea without registering a single shot on target. For a striker of his quality, and make no mistake, Gyökeres has been absolutely sensational since arriving at Arsenal last summer. That is an unusual and uncomfortable statistic. The honest truth about Gyökeres' afternoon is that Chelsea's centre-backs were well organised, physically competitive and disciplined in how they managed the space around him. Mamadou Sarr and the Chelsea defensive block gave Gyökeres very little room to operate in behind, and when the ball arrived at his feet in a withdrawn position, he was forced to hold, to link, to distribute rather than to threaten. He did the holding and linking work reasonably well. He stayed active, he stayed in the game, but the explosive direct Gyökeres, who has terrified Premier League defences all season, was kept quiet. When Arteta replaced him with Havertz in the 76th minute, bringing on fresh legs and a different type of forward movement to see the game out, the decision made tactical sense. Garnas had done his job in terms of occupying the Chelsea defence and contributing to Arsenal's shape, even without the end product. But this was a game where Arsenal needed more from their striker, and it simply did not come. 6 out of 10, below his own season average. The talent is absolutely there, and he will remind everyone of that very quickly. Substitutes: Gabriel Martinelli came on 55th minute for Trossard. 6 out of 10. Martinelli came on and immediately gave Arsenal more directness and pace on the left side. He tracked back well when Chelsea transitioned. He gave the team more energy and aggression, and he posed problems that Trossard had not been able to pose. He was not able to add a goal or an assist, but his contribution was a net positive. Kai Havertz came on 76th minute for Gyökeres. 6 out of 10. Havertz returned from his hamstring injury and did exactly what you want from a striker coming on to see a game out with a 1-goal lead. He linked play, he held the ball under pressure, and he gave Arsenal a physical presence in the final minutes that helped keep Chelsea away from the danger areas. Christian Norgard came on 76th minute for Rice. 5 out of 10. Norgard came on to add midfield solidity in the final stages and did his job without major incident. Nothing spectacular, but functional at a point in the game where Arsenal simply needed to keep things tight. Let me step back for a moment, because this match, this grinding, imperfect 2 goals from corners, hanging on at the end victory, tells us something really important about this Arsenal side. They are 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Today, right now, 5 points. With Brighton to come midweek, and a schedule that remains demanding through March and April. This team does not always play the way Arteta wants to play. There are matches where the open play creativity is limited, where the midfield is under pressure, where the strikers are isolated, where the left side does not function the way it should. Yesterday had all of those problems at various points. But this team keeps winning. It keeps finding ways. It keeps producing the set-piece routines at exactly the moments when they are needed most. It keeps showing the defensive resilience to protect leads when teams go down to 10 men but continue to press. David Raya makes the saves. Gabriel dominates aerially. Rice delivers the corner. Timber attacks the back post. William Saliba scores. Yuri and Timber scores. And Arsenal keep going. Is this the most beautiful, free-flowing Arsenal football we have seen under Arteta? No, not yesterday. But is it the most effective, most resilient, most tactically complete Arsenal side in the Premier League right now? Absolutely. And 5 points of clear air at the top of the table, with the quality in this squad and the coaching staff around this group, means that title is genuinely, realistically within reach. I believe it, and if you are watching this channel, I think you believe it too. David Raya, 8 out of 10. Jurian Timber, 8 out of 10. William Saliba, 7 out of 10. Gabriel Magalhaes, 8 out of 10. Piero Hincapié, 5 out of 10. Declan Rice, 7 out of 10. Martin Zubimendi, 4 out of 10. Bukayo Saka, 6 out of 10. Ibarrechi Eze, 4 out of 10. Leandro Trossard, 3 out of 10. Victor Gyökeres, 6 out of 10. Gabriel Martinelli, 6 out of 10. Kai Havertz, 6 out of 10. Christian Norgard, 5 out of 10. That is the full breakdown. 3 8s, 2 4s, and Trossard with the lowest rating of the day at 3 out of 10. Not a vintage Arsenal performance, but 3 points, 5 clear at the top, and the Gunners are still standing when it matters most. If you agree with these ratings, hit the like button and let me know in the comments below. If you disagree, I want to hear it. Tell me who you think deserved higher. Tell me who you think I have been too harsh on. The conversation in this community is always one of the best parts of this channel, and I read every single comment. Subscribe to Andy Gunners Live if you are not already part of this community. Turn on notifications so you do not miss a single video. We have Brighton midweek, Everton coming up at the Emirates, and this title race is only going to get more intense from here. I am Andrew. This is Andy Gunners Live. Come on, you Gunners. Always